Maybe I just start recording. Maybe I just start talking about it. Maybe I do. Let's go there. Let's ask, can we stay? I think I just talk about it. Like, I think I just talk about it because whatever. As you can probably tell from the title of this video, hey, I'm going to try to laugh and I'm going to try to be as real as possible with you right now while I do a little bit of a makeup look, because I think me just like sitting here staring at you while talking about this feels weird. Maybe. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for quite some time, and every time that I've gone to talk about it or whatever, I was like, oh, well, that doesn't seem like how people talk about it. Maybe that's a little too much and blah, 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 blah. So hi, welcome to my channel. If this is the first video at my channel, hey, I'm nervous. If this is the first video on my channel that you're saying, hey, I'm Courtney Quarantine. If you're returning, hey, bestie, thanks for being here. Woo, I'm already a little emotional. This is just something I kind of want to get off my chest. Not that I owe anyone an explanation, or I don't feel like I have to do this for like some obligatory reason. Like I have to talk about like being sober. I think some creators think that they have to. I've watched a lot of like creators talk about sobriety in really weird ways. Sobriety is everyone's own business. Let me just go ahead and say that. Being sober and clean is my issue, my stuff to carry in the way that I carry it. You know what I mean? And I do my best to not judge. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I don't judge people. Oh, I sure do. 100% I do. Because sometimes I hear people talk about sobriety and it like pisses me off. It sends me into a rage because sometimes people are like, oh my God, I love being sober because for my health, I love mocktails and it's just so cute and like, and I'm like, I hate it. I hate being sober. I hate it. It's hard. It's a decision that I have to make every minute of every single day. And so I think there's a part of me that feels like envious. I think it's just jealousy when I hear people talk about it in a nonchalant way, because it's very much nonchalant for me. It's non-nonchalant. And it's something that I feel like I find myself like going to make jokes about on stream, or like wanting to like say something or speak about it or like something about it. And it just feels like I feel like I can't. Mostly for other people. I'll be honest, mostly for like, oh, I don't want to speak about that because that might upset, somebody, or it might, somebody from, whatever part of my life and all this stuff. But honestly, this is my platform and I want to talk about it. Here I am being like, I'm going to do my makeup. Haven't started my makeup. Where's my eye primer? Oh, hello. So I want to talk about a couple things, and I don't know if like literally past this, I will ever talk about this again. I don't know if I'll post this. I don't know if I'll delete this. I simply don't know. But I'm feeling really like right now. Does that make sense? So I'm going to do a little bit of makeup, and I'm not going to talk about the makeup, but I'm just going to do makeup so that I have something to do whilst speaking on this. Okay, great. You understand. This is not me trying to be like, oh, I have to bring awareness to whatever, because that's not my job, especially for other people. And I don't want to be like, oh, look at me up on my high horse because I'm sober. Oh my God, it could not be further from the truth. My God. I don't know if I will say everything that I want to say or feel like I like kind of need to say. Not that I feel like any pressure to, but I don't. Just for a little bit of a context, I guess. There are certain things that I will never speak about online. They're incredibly traumatic, and I do not want to trauma bond with you as a viewer, with you as my community. That is not my intention here. That is not what I want to do. That is not why I'm speaking about any part of this life, of this part of my life with you. With that being said, I will always leave parts of this story vague and personal details, just that, as personal details. And I think maybe that's like, that might be common sense, I don't know. But just like while I'm talking about it, that's where I'm coming from. I don't want to like get into talking about this and then have people be like, well, you told us everything. I don't think I will ever. I know that I will never tell the internet everything. Absolutely not. That's crazy. So I've been sober and clean for an amount of time. Now, I am going to say an amount of time because I don't want people to feel like they're in charge of keeping me sober for like, these milestones, or like I don't want the weight of a time frame to be put on anyone else, because I feel like I feel it. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I feel it, and it sucks. I know people are like, yay, another day. Yay, another milestone. And I'm like, God, does it get any easier? Jesus. And there are days that it is easier, but it's one of those things where I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed to like be struggling with this as much as I do. And I know genetically and just environmental wise and all of these things, like there's a huge impact from all angles for myself personally. Hello, is this the thing I need? Yes, okay. So I try to be as realistic as possible while knowing like the factors that go into my personal life. I loved to party. I still do. I love to be social. I love to go to parties. And with that came a lot of things. And again, I'm so sorry that I'm like kind of chuckling through this. I just like that's how I'm gonna handle this. But I think one of the things that I see when talked about like sobriety, people are like, oh, my life got so much better. And my life is so much better. I know that. I know my life is so much better now because of the choices that I've made specifically in this category to better myself. And it was to better myself, because honestly, if I didn't make the choice when I made the choice, I wouldn't be here. And I know that. And I know that. I know that at my core. I've talked to my therapist about this for hours on end. And even some of my closest friends had no idea. And I think that was really hard. It was really hard for me to lose friend groups, to like lose close friends, to lose people in my life to, substance and alcohol has kind of unfortunately been a common theme. And I wish it didn't happen as much as it did. And I wish it didn't start as young as it did. And I wish that I would have had, the resources and the knowledge to have seen that and known that pain and been more responsible. But I also try to give myself some grace. I think at times it is a lot more difficult, and one of those times are the holidays, unfortunately. And I do want to just say that it is kind of funny sometimes when people are like, oh, I'm like, oh, no thanks, I don't drink. Or, if I'm at a party and someone's like, oh, you want me to grab you something? And I'll be like, oh, I'll take a Red Bull, or like, whatever it is. Hey, I love ginger ale. I love Red Bull. Red Bull's super bad for you. But honestly, it's better than a lot of other things. So it's not funny. But like, sometimes when people are like, oh, do you like hate drinking? Do you think like people are, I'm like, oh no, quite the opposite actually. I love it. I love it, but I just can't do it. I can't. And statistically, historically speaking, I absolutely have been shown that I can't. Time and time and time again. And I think it's sometimes people get this idea that you're being like judgmental. And that's another thing that I wish I could tell like strangers immediately when I meet them. They're like, oh, you're going to judge me for drinking. Oh my God, no, I'm not. Oh my God, no, I'm not. I'm not going to probably judge you for anything about, again, this category. I'm not going to judge you on that. I will say I'm quicker to jump to like my friend's side and be like, hey, do you want to talk about this? Do you maybe need help? And like I try to verbalize that in a way that's not like me trying to swoop in and be like, hey, me and my sobriety are here to save the day because I know better. But I think when you know better and you do better, you try to keep up with it, right? Or at least I have, specifically with this. Wow, I'm really rambling. I don't like when people think like, oh, it should just be like easier for people. And I just also want to say that I know like relapses happen. It's part of it, right? Like people always talk about like, oh, relapsing is part of like sobriety and being clean and all these things. But it's a hard, it comes with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt sometimes. And it's difficult. There have been times where I think relapsing is one of the loneliest things, like one of the loneliest things that you can feel. And I think when you don't have maybe like a system or a friend group or something to kind of help you deal with that or feel that, it is so hard. And maybe I don't really know what the point of this video is. And maybe it's just to kind of give you a little bit of background and a little bit of context. So I don't know, man. Like, I think I just felt like I was like putting this behind, like it was too far behind like the veil. And not that I feel like I need to come on here and talk about this stuff every day or every post, but like, I don't know. I see so many creators talk about it. And I think it's quite interesting sometimes, like statistically speaking, when creators are like, oh yeah, like I'm sober because of X, Y, and Z, or I'm sober because of da-da-da, or I'm this, or I'm blah, 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 or I'm California sober, or I'm whatever it may be for them. I find it interesting. I feel like, let me speak about the benefits actually really quickly, because I'm no longer hungover. I am no longer hungover, which is great. I no longer deal with like anxiety or whatever, all of that stuff. It's freed a lot of my time, and I have zero free time. I love being insanely busy with what I do and what I love. Almost sometimes a little too much. But I was like rotting my freaking brain, dude, like legitimately. And I feel like one of the biggest reasons that honestly inspires me to keep being sober is that because of this. Again, I'm not trying to like be like putting this on you or putting this on my content. As a viewer, I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm sober, therefore my content has to do well, otherwise I'm gonna, no. But I'm saying it's a huge inspiration for me. So sometimes when I'm like, oh, this has changed my life, there's many ways and other things that maybe someday I'll speak on why it's changed my life. But like, it's changed my life because I really used to not feel purpose. And I think that's kind of why I was numbing and just not caring about myself, or just like really leaning into this like party version of me that I quite loved. Party version of me had a lot of friends. Party version of me was always invited to things. I was always included. It's saying that out loud now, it feels kind of bad. It feels pretty sad, actually. But I know that I'm not alone in those feelings. And I know that there are people who share that sentiment. And there's that quote that's like, when I was the worst version of myself, I had the most friends. And man, has that been a little true. And I think sometimes people don't want to be judged for like whatever. So they don't want to invite like the sober person. And I've even heard from friends, I was like, hey, like I kind of had to sit some people down. And I was like, I still want to be included. I still want to be invited to this. And they were like, well, we're going to be partying though. And you don't do that anymore. And it was like, oh. And it felt like I was just like a party person. Like I was the instigator for whatever. And I was really good at it. And I had a lot of fun. But like, woo, that sucked. It's also hard like making friends while being sober. Like I've noticed. It's hard because like you will tell someone, or like you just casually mention like you want like a soda or something at a bar. And people are like, oh, America specifically is like really centered around like social things surrounding, how do I want to word this? I feel like in America, social gatherings, social opportunities are really centered around drinking. Now, this goes in a lot of places, but I live in America, so this is what I'm talking about. And I talked to my therapist about this because she was like, look at the media, look at the commercials, look at the ads that you see, look at all of things that is very centered around particularly alcohol. And it's wild. I never noticed it before. And then I was like, oh, it used to be hard for me to go to anything where anything was there. You know what I mean? And it's so much better now. I can like go out to events. I can't have stuff in my home though. And that has been really, really hard. I am so thankful for my living situation now, and, having people who are very close to me be incredibly understanding and so loving that I actually don't know how to process it. Do a wing because duh. Ooh, that's nice. I found that I think I was worried that the friends that I would leave behind, the friends that I had to leave behind, I really missed. And I would worry that I would miss them forever. And it turns out they don't miss me and I don't miss them. But it hurt and it sucked. It sucked to realize that. But I think one of the biggest reasons that I didn't want to talk about it for so long was like I didn't want to be like the sober person. Because like sometimes I see that online where I'm like, oh, this is your whole personality and you're weird about it. Like you push it on people like some organized religion bullshit. Sorry. But like, I don't know. It just was like so, people would be so hateful and so judgmental. And I was like, ugh, I would never want to be like that. But then I thought, well, if I speak on it at all, then it makes me feel like I'm like, oh, I think that I'm, bleh. But I was just filling my head with like just nonsense, which none of that was happening. None of it was happening also because I wasn't speaking on it. So like simply nobody knew. So here I was being like, well, if I speak about it, then I won't be included anymore. No one will want to hang out with me anymore, which if that happens, it's probably people I don't want to hang out with anyway. But I never thought that. I never realized that. I kind of want to do like a little swoop, like a little whoop. I also used to think that I would like lose my spark. Now I've thought this for a couple of things in life, and guess what? Every time it's not true. I have never lost my spark. Actually, I think I've gotten more hilarious. I have made myself laugh more than I ever have. I crack myself up, dude. Now, I don't think I'm funny, but I do think I'm hilarious. I'm just kidding. But I would tell myself, I'm like, well, I'm not going to be cool. I'm not going to be hot. I'm not going to be like, no one's going to think, well, first of all, why do I care? That's a whole other thing. Woo, woo. I love that. But like, it was one of those things where I was like, what am I doing, dude? Like, who cares? So, but it was a real concern. And then, things got really serious, and it wasn't anymore like hee hee. It was like, oh, I've known that this is a problem for a very long time. I've been in denial. My close friends have probably been in denial. maybe not so much, but like it was so much like more serious than I wanted to admit. And then it was unavoidable. You know what I mean? Well, I hope you don't know what I mean. But yeah, when so much of my identity was tied to being like the cool party person, I didn't know what to do. I still am like trying to figure that out. Ooh, I really love that. That's really cool. You can make the gray out of the like Lynn's makeup looks one. I love that a lot. And I wanted to make gray, so I made gray. Okay, anyway, we're not talking about makeup, but I couldn't help myself. I also felt like at a time, I was like, oh, well, if I'm not doing all of that stuff, then what the am I gonna do? So many things filled my time and filled that space almost immediately. Like when it was a really hard decision, not when it was like, oh, let's try it for a weekend, or oh, let's not for a day, or oh, let's not for a month, or oh, let's not, like, oh my God, dude. When it was the hard line, when it was the immediately everything else took up my life. And I hate to admit that almost, because I was so stubborn. And then again, life kind of taught me some lessons. I think maybe I thought that I was like better than, or that it wasn't that serious or whatever for so long. Like I just kind of convinced myself otherwise. And that was difficult. I'm gonna put on a ton of mascara. I don't know if you need to see that, so hold on. Okay, I did a couple other things because honestly, I feel like I'm rambling. Not that I can't allow myself space to ramble, but like, I don't know. Like I said, the point of this is not like the makeup, but it's just giving me something to do so I'm not just like really fully staring at you the whole time. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I said all the things that I really wanted to say, but I'm not gonna lie, I do feel a little bit lighter. And I do feel like I can maybe like talk about this in the future if I need to or if I want to. I think I had a lot of misconceptions about what my life would look like being sober, and I do think that because of how I think about it now, because I'm like, I hate being sober, this is awful, this is stupid, I just want to like go out and like party my brains out. I think because I'm having those thoughts, I still have to stay sober. You know what I mean? So like, I think because the demons are really fighting back still, that's just something that I have to keep in check. And I know sometimes I'll be like, I wonder if one day I'll, have a glass of wine, and it's just like, yeah, probably not. And I think that's okay. I think that's okay for me to accept that, but there are times that it's like I want to go, like whatever. I think for the trade-off for being here and like all of this stuff is worth it, is really, really worth it. Obviously, maybe not obviously, but it is. I think the demons in the corners of my brain would offer me that it's not, and that there's no point, and, X, Y, and Z. But I really don't think I could accomplish anything if I wasn't. Like, I mean, like anything. I couldn't form good relationships. I would have nothing that I love right now if I wasn't sober. I know that seems like kind of dramatic, but it's taken a long time for me to like actually accept that. Honestly, shout out to my therapist who got me through a lot of the worst parts of it, and to my close friends who have seen every version of me. I'm so beyond thankful for them. My lips are chapped and dehydrated. Yeah, I don't know. I hope I post this. I hope you're watching this somewhere. I'm doing my best, and that's all I can do every single day. Ugh! But yeah, it's a part of my life. It's not the only thing in my life. I don't think of myself as like the sober person or like a sober person. I think of myself as a person who deals with this stuff. I think I was worried, and like maybe there's a part of me that still is somewhere in there, that it would like change how my content was viewed or how I was viewed as a creator, or that like it wouldn't be fun. But I think it's just because of my past experiences with people, and losing out on these friendships that I thought were more valuable than they were, or whatever it was. And yeah, the one last thing that I will say, because again, I don't want this to like breach into parasocial and like feel weird, but if you are struggling, I do hope that you can find the resources and examples for help, and know that you are definitely not alone, and it is incredibly hard work. So please offer yourself the patience and the grace. I cannot offer that for you. I cannot do that for you. Nobody can. Your best friend cannot. Your family cannot. Your partner cannot. Only you can do that. Your favorite creator, your favorite streamer, your favorite artist, your favorite anyone cannot do that. No one can do that work but you. And that was a really hard pill for me to swallow. Maybe not the right metaphor for that, but anyway, I think you get my point, or I hope that you get my point. I think I used to think that certain things would like come along to solve my problems, and every time that I thought that in life, like every time that I was like, well, then someone else will just come in and save the day, it's always been me. actually. And it's always been you too. It's always been me that's gotten me out of X, Y, or Z. It's always been me that's bettered myself for X, Y, or Z. It's always been me that has built something up that I love because I'm putting my time and passion into it. And the same thing for you. It's the whole, every hard day that you've had, you've been the one to, what is it? It's like that Harvey quote. It's not like that Harvey quote, but I do love that quote. I did watch myself turn into the villain that I always hated or whatever for a while. And now I'm Batman. But it is, as cliche as it is, you are the one that gets you through your hardest days, and you've always been there. But the same thing with that is like everywhere I go, there I am. Oh Lord, everywhere I go, there I am. All of my issues are still with me. All of my struggles and all of my baggage and all of these things are still with me. But I don't look at them, maybe baggage is the wrong word. I don't look at them as something that is so heavy now. I just look at it as like, it's just part of it. I've talked about this with makeup, but I've spent way too much time in my life hating myself and putting just other people's opinions above my own. And I don't do that anymore. And it's a really freeing thing. I have my moments, of course, because I am only human. Haven't perfected that completely, but it is a really great thing to just take care of me. And I don't think I ever realized the power of that before. Anyway, I hope that this video wasn't too like, oh, me and all of my great decisions, because, oh, for every great decision I've made, there's a billion bad ones. You know what I mean? So, like, I hope that this doesn't come off lectury. It's not my intention. I don't know what this will look like. And I don't know if this will matter. I'll be so frank. I don't know if this will matter. Me posting this, don't know. But I just kind of wanted to talk about it and be able to be a little bit more open, a little bit more personal, because I've been incredibly shut off in my content and in my personal life. And I don't really want to be that way with my content. I really like sharing things with y'all. And I really like, especially on streams and talking and chatting live with you, it's like it's a big part of my content. And no matter how big it gets, I don't care how fast chat is cruising, I always want to talk with you. And yeah, anyway, I know I'm having a lot of thoughts here at once, so if you've made it to the end of this, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. I really, really do appreciate it. I do hope that you take care of yourself and, be nice to yourself. Be nice to others, but be nice to you too. I think that's pretty much all I have to say for this. And we'll see. We'll see how editing this goes. Anyway, that's that. But thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Woo! Okay. Well, okay. Woo!